Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world. This is the world of Wayne. Happy Friday. Today is miniature hour again. We're going to be doing two stages of the Hachette Partworks release of Build the B.III Lancaster bomber. Now what do I mean by miniature hour? Well, obviously we're working on the engine, which is that big. It looks really tiny. Let me just show you on the close-up camera. This is exactly what we've been building, and we're going to be adding on to that with these next two stages now. So for that reason, I am going to be pretty much wearing these things most of the day. If you want to get hold of these and any other tools that you see me using, I do have a link down here to my Amazon store. There is a US store and a UK store that you can actually just click on and use the exact same things that I'm using here. Now, if you do want to get this for yourself, I'll put a link in the video description. There's also a QR code on the screen, but without further ado, let's get cracking. So first off, stage 22. You can see all the parts that we've got here. We've got Supercharger drive units. So we've got loads here, look. We're going to be assembling all of this together like this. This looks like a standalone piece. And once that's completed, we're then going to be attaching this to the end of the engine once again that we've been creating. So it's looking just like that. And this is the rest of the magazine. So once again here, I think most of the cameras are zoomed up. Very tiny things. And I've got my glue here, which I buy from the range stores in the UK, which is a brush-on glue. I'm probably going to need that as well. So first thing I'm going to do is take these two sections here, and quite simply this is just going to go down the top of this section just here. Now there is a keyhole pattern in this, so once it's pushed down, which is a tight fit, I have to say. I'm not going to force that. What I am going to do is just put some oil on the shaft of this plastic section here, so that when I push this down, it's going to go in no problems at all. And it needs to be fitting flush in there so that keyhole pattern is perfectly aligned. On the other side of this, I've got this section here, which is just going to push over the end, and that will link both of these parts together. Now I'm just checking, do we need glue? Now they're suggesting if needed. I don't think it's needed, so I'm not going to glue this into place. Now I have really zoomed up the top camera as well, because now I've got this piece to go on. It goes on this way. Again, it's just a case of lining up these lugs and pushing that in to make one unit. Now these smaller details I'm putting in are going to need glue. Now this is so tiny, I don't think I can even use the brush section on this, so I am going to make sure I've got a little cocktail stick just to dab these into place. And the first piece I'm going to put in looks just like this. Now there is a tiny tab on the bottom, so I'm going to put a nice generous blob of glue there. Put some on my cocktail stick and just dab that into this hole like that, and put this into place. Now the next section to put on looks just like this. It's going to go on this way, and it's going to go on top of this section. Now it does say glue in place if necessary, so I'm going to see if it's necessary by doing a dry fit. And I can tell you quite confidently it's not going to need gluing on. That's really tight on there. I can put this to one side. Now I've got a couple of these small details here. We've got this silver colour detail and this can't see it in my hand detail here. Again, this is going to need to be glued into place. So I'm just going to be putting some glue just into the lugs at the bottom here and push that in. So when it's in, hopefully you can see, looks like that. Now the fixing point for this, quite hard to see, but hopefully you can see where I'm dropping glue. It's basically just here where my cocktail stick is touching. Put some glue in there. goes in kind of like that way. Hopefully you can see that, but that's held in perfectly. I'm going to be doing the same on this piece, which is going to go on the other side, and if you notice that this is slightly different to the one we just put in. But once again, put the base in there, let that set, and this is going to be going on the other side here. Now I'm putting them in so it's kind of symmetrical to the one I've got on the other side there. So I want to show you exactly how that looks now there. Now the last detail I've got is actually just going to go on the side here. I can use my brush for that. And this has got a locating lug in it, and I'll just hold that into place. So looking very detailed, just that section we've done there. Now this whole thing is going to go onto the side of the engine here. So what I'm going to do is I've got 4 holes. I'm going to touch my brush into those holes. Perfect. And I'm going to align that with the 4 lugs I've got on this side. You do sort of need to thread this through first like that. And when that's in, it should look like that. Very detailed. And we've got one last thing to put in, and that's just this little flexible wire here, which is just going to go into the 2 holes at the top of the engine here. So don't need a lot of glue for this, so I am going to touch this with my cocktail stick. One in there. One there. And put that into place like that. And there we go. That is all there is to do in that stage. Telling you, that is microscopic work. Don't know what we're doing in stage 23. Let's do that now. So here is stage 23. Now this came a week later in the newsagent, so I don't know if this is going to affect you subscribers, but we've got some bigger pieces here that are going to go in now, and they're actually going either side of the engine, so they're sort of like the mounts for the engine. We do have the radiator to put onto the engine as well. So when this is done, quite a lot of things. It's looking pretty impressive there. So this is the rest of the magazine. And coming next time, look, we've got some tweezers. We've got one of the wheels. Pretty much a whole kit caboodle there. So just get this last box open. And just so you know, these bits of the frame that we're going to be putting on the engine are metal. And the first piece I need, if I just rotate this around, looks just like this. And I'm just going to be putting a dry fit just to see exactly where this is going to go. It's going to go into the 2 holes here. So this time I can go a little bit more heavy on the glue because we are sticking now metal to plastic. So I'm going to make sure those cavities are full there. So as you see, I filled them up. It's the tabs here which are going to go into that. And I'm just going to hold that into place. Most important thing is that it's actually flat in there. If we've got this tilted, we're going to have a problem at this end here. So if you look on the top camera, that's how that should look. Now I'm just going to lay that down onto that section because you can see we've got a little metal tab coming up from there. I've got a piece to put in there, and it's a little peg. It's going to go over that spar, and it is going to need to be glued into place. So I'll put some glue just on the end there and put this in. Now it is like a rubbery material, that is, so it should go in no problems at all. Now I'm going to be putting the brace on the other side. So if you have to move the pipe that we put in just there, just move it down just a touch so you can expose the 2 holes here. One there and one on this side. Perfect. And then in this, again, little shaft, I'm going to be putting some glue on the end, because then when I put these in, both of those are going to connect together. I'm just going to hold that into place for a second, making sure that this end here is kind of square. And that's what it looks like from the bottom. I'm very impressed with how that engine's looking at the moment. Look at that. Okay, to put that to one side so we can let that dry, I'm now going to just create the radiator, which is a case of just pushing these two parts together. Just checking if they need glue. Probably yes. Let's put a little bit of glue on there. And then if I turn the engine upside down, this radiator is going to go into the slot that we've got just at the front there, just into here. So I need to put some glue into there. And I want to make sure it sits 90 degrees to the engine, like that. Now, in the tabs just at the top here, I'm putting some glue, because I'm now going to be putting the radiator shutter control, which looks like this. It has got some tabs just at the bottom that are going to fit into that. Perfect. And that's gone in just like that there. I now just want to piece these two parts of pipe together. Again, I am going to just put some glue just around the edges of this one. Put these together. And just hold them into place. We've got this single pipe now. And the last thing I want to do is take this pipe, and I'm just going to be putting some glue just on the ends there, and also just into these holes just here, because one end's going into the pipe at the top and the other end's going to go into the lugs that we had at the bottom of the engine there. Let me just show you what that looks like from the top there. You see those two tabs that goes into? And this just needs to be in this pipe here, which has just come out. Let me just put that back in. And when you've finished, it should look like that there. That from underneath. And pretty detailed. Now, from what I understand, most of the other engines we're going to be doing are going to be pre-made for us, especially a lot of these hoses and stuff. So don't know how that's going to look until we get to them, but that is those two stages complete. You know what, the last few stages of this build have been really challenging, so I mean, even I'm struggling, but take your time, use plenty of glue, make sure you've got magnifying glasses, and I think that's all the only advice I can give you, to be honest with you. But I'm going to try and take a close-up image for the fun now, so you can see how that is. Now, issue 24 is going to be out next week. It does look to be quite a fair bit to do, so I may do that as a standalone. We'll have to see. But once again, if you want to get this for yourself, I have put a link in the video description, and there's also a QR code on the screen. But I really hope you like that video. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, take care.